It's a great morning in Wisconsin. Today, the Craftsman Truck Series making their return to the Milwaukee Mile. First time they've competed here since 2009. It's playoff race number 2 later today on FS1. Right now it's qualifying on FS2 with Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons. I'm Adam Alexander. I said it's a great day in Wisconsin. Sunny, 67 degrees. How can you beat that?
Isn't that wonderful?
How about those smiling faces? Enjoying this beautiful return to the Milwaukee Mile. Man, I've been looking forward to this race all season long. We're going qualifying today.
Wasting no time. First truck out, Dexter Bean.
So much history at this racetrack. My brother Benny raced here back in USAC stock cars in 1967.
Place opened up in 1903.
Benny didn't run that race.
He wasn't there. You weren't there either.
No,
were you,
I
Phil?
wouldn't.
I do remember, though, years ago celebrating your 50th birthday at the Milwaukee
Well, why don't we
Mile.
just talk about numbers then, Adam? Thanks a lot.
Let's stick to the numbers on track and the speed being generated by these drivers behind the wheel.
Dexter Bean's a Wisconsin native.
He's on the board, 30.97, his lap of record. Let's hear now from Josh Sims, who's hanging out down on pit road. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Adam. And not the homecoming Ty Majeski would like so far here in Milwaukee. The 98 team failed inspection 3 times for what the team is calling a right rear tire issue. Now, because of this, crew chief Joe Shear Jr. has been ejected, will not be replaced. They lose a right rear tire as well during this race as well. That will not be replaced. Any further issues with this team will be dealt with during the week, but not a good start for the weekend. I talked to Ty just a few minutes ago and he said, hey, it is what it is. We got to deal with what we got to do. But some frustration for the 98 team so far.
The tire and wheel from the right rear of that truck was confiscated by NASCAR. And talking the garage areas, maybe it's a valve stem issue.
Yeah,
where
nothing wrong with the tire.
No, that's why I want to clear that up. The tire's fine.
Yeah.
Goodyear gave them a good tire. They just maybe are trying to leak a little air out of that tire to get more grip when the tires blow up. That's something that's been going on for a long time. People looking into trying to figure out how to do that. And if you get caught, NASCAR will come down on you.
Yeah.
You serve your time at the beginning of this race with that pass-through penalty and all that. So he's going to begin this race behind the 8 ball. Good news is for one of our championship contenders, though, Ty won the playoff opener at IRP. So he's already locked into the round of 8. I'm not saying today doesn't matter, but it eases the pain when you know you're locked into the next round of the playoffs.
I think the fact that his home is about 2 hours away from here, this race is going to matter to him a lot. And I don't think we can count him out, even with that pass-through penalty.
Yeah, and we also have to watch how these cautions fall, Phil. There's a lot of fall off in the lap times. This track's old, and the tires give up speed. Does he need that right rear?
1903, it's really old.
Does he need that? Was he going to run out of right rear tires? We'll have to keep our eye on that. Certainly something we'll follow today.
37 trucks are here. 36 make the field. 31 get in on speed. So if you beat 6, you're locked in. Being in front of Lemke. Derek Lemke, the second truck on track, 31.04.
Yeah, Dexter Bean is a brand new team, essentially a brand new team. It's kind of a revitalized team from years ago. So he is the most vulnerable. He for sure has to be in the top 31 on speed in order to make this race later on this afternoon.
Third truck out, Greg Van Alst making his second career start here today. 31.43 for the 20. Qualifying underway at Milwaukee. Qualifying off and rolling for the Craftsman Truck Series here at the Milwaukee Mile. 4 trucks have been on track. While we were away, Spencer Boyd put it top of the board. 30.70 for the driver that won Talladega 4 years ago.
Yeah, good lap for Spencer. Michael was talking about him picking up a half a second over his practice time.
Brad Perez in the 30.
He's slipping and sliding, Adam. A lot of action, and Phil and I were talking here in the break, watching these different lines around the racetrack. You know, do you run down on that fresher looking pavement? You would say, heck yeah. But we're not seeing it. We didn't see it much yesterday in practice. That's confusing. It looks like the new pavement is actually slicker than the old.
Watching the ARCA race from last year, same situation. Most of the drivers that had speed ran up above that patch.
Perez set to make his second start of the year. Here's someone making their Truck Series debut, one of our double dippers, ARCA and Trucks. It's Sean Hangarani in the 61, driving for Hattori.
Sean's going for that ARCA West Series championship. He has 4 wins already this year.
Currently second in the standings. There you see the graphic of those 4 wins out west in ARCA competition. Native of California.
Newport Beach. Our buddy Jacob Ullman likes to sail around on Newport Beach.
Pretty good lap, going quarter of a second in the bank right now. Lost a little bit off of turn 2, but still maintains that quarter of a second.
What about this racetrack? Isn't this fun being back at Milwaukee?
Love that.
On slipping and sliding, we're going to see so much action this afternoon.
Remember, the last thing on the racetrack yesterday evening was ARCA Menards qualifying. They run general tires, so most of the teams were telling me this morning as Hangarani goes to the top of the board that it takes a little while to get that ARCA rubber off the racetrack. They said probably 20-25 laps. Well, we won't see that much in qualifying. We're going to only see 37 trucks make 1 lap. So it'll be on in the. Then the ARCA race will be next. So it'll take a few laps in our truck race this afternoon to get rid of that general tire rubber.
So the ARCA cars run general tires and we run specific ones, right? We specifically run Goodyear.
We specifically run Goodyear tires, yes.
Generally speaking. Here's another Wisconsin native, Josh Bilicki, in the O2 this weekend.
Give you guys a little bit of a heads up. I got a lot of sleep last night. You're gonna have to put up with some of that today, if you don't mind. If you'll just humor me, laugh every now and then.
As Bilicki makes his lap, we go down to the pits, and Josh.
Down here with William Sawalich getting set for his 5th race of the season in a truck. So far, you got 3 top 10s so far. How do you feel about your chances of adding another one with this race today?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. I know that we've always had a good qualifying truck here, and the Sound Gear Tundra TRD Pro has always been really good throughout the race, so I'm really confident in that. I know these guys brought a really good car, and we were really good in practice, so I'm really happy as of now.
William Sawalich doing the double dip. He'll be in the ARCA race today as well, guys.
I love those shades. I can see Josh in his sunglasses. That was awesome.
And he's on the pole for that ARCA race here later on.
30-90 for Josh Bilicki in that O2 truck.
Talk about the double dippers on FS2 now. The traffic shifts to FS1, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We got the ARCA race, Trucks race day at 3. And then the 3 of us back here for the Clean Harbors 175, race 2, round 1 for the Craftsman Truck Series from right here at the Milwaukee Mile.
Could another driver maybe lock their way into that next round today?
I say yes. I'll give you a little Corey Heim, a little Zane Smith, Christian Eckes.
Christian Eckes. He looked awfully good yesterday in practice.
Kosovar, maybe?
Yeah.
Sneaky good.
What about Matt and Matt? Crafton and Benedetto, maybe they get that win. And
let's just name the other 9. Why don't we?
Why don't we just name, all of them? And they all certainly do have a chance to lock themselves into the next round.
I think strategy could be big, too. A lot of tires laying for these teams. You could play some games, could get a little bit of an upset later today.
What's really funny is I talked to a number of the crew chiefs, and there are so many tires available, and what that means, they will have 5 sets available for the race. Start on 1-4 lane. There's so many tires that it's confusing them on when to use them.
But I talked to a couple crew chiefs, like, we like to research and see who's thinking what as we look at Daniel Dye and his team. They're preparing to go make a qualifying run. There's Ben Rhodes, one of our playoff contenders. They think this tire fall off is enough to where if you run 20-30 laps and there's a caution, you're going to consider putting on tires. And just keep that in mind as we talk about Ty Majeski. He's down 1 tire. We'll see if that plays into things.
Usually you have 3 sets laying. You put on a set at the end of stage 1, put on a set in stage 2.
Pretty simple, right? Pretty simple.
You got a set laying there if you need them in the final stage. But 4 sets laying today means you get that caution, as Michael said, in the middle portion of stage 1, stage 2. You could come take advantage of that set, gain some track position. We'll see how it all plays out.
You don't have 6 sets, so you can't use 2 in each stage. So one of those stages you're going to have to run 1 set of tires.
But if we were seeing these trucks slip and slide, and this is on new tires, so just imagine what that's going to be like as these tires wear. You could literally see somebody come in, if there's 10 laps to go in this race, if they saved a set, trying to make a run for it like that.
As Jones runs 30.57, it's certainly a possibility.
Hangarani Jones, top 2 in qualifying. We're back after a break on FS2. Just An absolute gorgeous day in Wisconsin. Temperature is right. And not just right if you're a race fan, but it's right for speed. I mean, it's cool.
It's right for about everything.
Yeah, you generate some enthusiasm on the track. Next out, another driver from Wisconsin. This is the 7 truck for Derek Kraus, making his second start of the year later today.
We're bringing all the drivers from Wisconsin out here for this truck race.
He took a really, looked like a really deep dive into turn 1. Drove in there hard, slid up the track a little bit, but it didn't really get out of control. This could be a pretty good lap.
And we know this truck has speed. You think about what Lane Riggs did in this truck a couple of weeks ago at IRP. Of course, domination at North Wilkesboro for Kyle Larson. Let's see what this Spire Chevrolet has. Top of the board, 30-46 for Derek Kraus. Here's Josh.
Down here with Ben Rhodes right now. And Ben, when I talked about the fact that you were a +4 to the cut line yesterday, you shuddered a little bit. How are you feeling now going into qualifying in the race today?
Yeah, +4 for sure, but I'm hoping we can build on that today. The big thing is just to stay calm the whole time, right? Like we've been here every year, the same position, and we're able to always battle through it and find our way to Phoenix. So just calm, cool, collected, let other people make mistakes. But the biggest thing is you got to have speed, right? I know we had a regular practice session yesterday, but there's still only so much you can do in 50 minutes. So we worked on it as hard as we could, making a bunch of changes after practice is over. And I'm just hoping for a really good, starting position for this farm paint Ford F-150. When you start up front, less bad things can happen, and usually a little bit smoother race.
That's a good luck, Ben.
Rhodes 14th in practice yesterday. Here's Tyler Ankrum in the 16.
What a good lap going here. Look at this.
Hangarani, his teammate, ran a 30-54. He's currently second. Ankrum back to the line. Make him P1, 30-24. I'd say that'll get it done.
That's the fastest lap that we've seen all weekend. Majeski was the fastest truck in practice yesterday at a 30-35.
Derek Kraus picked up over a half second from his speed yesterday. So that team, we've seen, you mentioned it, Adam, all the speed from the 7 truck. They're back on track. Didn't have a great day yesterday, but it looks like things are going well so far today. I like what Ben Rhodes said. Less bad things can happen. As a race car driver, that's all you hope for. Please have less bad things happen to me this week than did last week.
I don't have to have great luck, just no bad luck.
Colby Howard well up the track there in 3 and 4.
Grant County mulch on the side of that truck. The Cody Robaugh team will also be running the ARCA race later on today with Grant Enfinger driving. He was in the green there for a minute, wasn't he?
Slipping and sliding. Don't ever question Colby Howard's commitment. He's going to give you all he's got every lap, and you can see that evident in the way this truck is sliding in this qualifying effort. Wow.
Second for Colby Howard, 30-45. Top of the leaderboard right now is Ankrum. Howard Kraus right behind him. Teammates talking things over at Milwaukee. Not quite halfway home. It's qualifying for the Craftsman Truck Series later today. The Clean Harbors 175 here at Milwaukee. Race coverage begins 3 o'clock Eastern time with race day on FS1. Haley Deegan goes to second, just in front of Dean Thompson, who was on track while we were away. Josh?
Hey, with Nick Sanchez, and yesterday you told me yesterday was one of the best practice sessions you've had all year. Why was that?
Yeah, I think, I'm just learning a lot about these trucks and making changes to try to better myself in the short track. So I think Danny Stockman and the whole crew gave me a really good understanding of what I need here, I believe. And I think the number 2 Gamebridge Chevy is going to be pretty fast, hopefully.
Thanks, good luck, Nick. Guys.
Just prepping. That's what it's all about these days, Phil. These kids they're sponges. They take every bit of information available to them and study hard at their craft. Back in the day, we just didn't have that many tools that the guys have now. So there's just more to consider, more things to run through your brain to make sure you're exactly where you need to be when you crank your engine.
We talked about the fact that Goodyear tires are a little bit different than the General tires, and that General tire rubbers on the racetrack. I think the track's getting faster. I think they're working that General tire rubber off, and these trucks are getting faster and faster. You see Brett's a little bit off now. He's almost a half a second off. But Ankrum, Deegan, Thompson, Colby Howard all ran pretty good laps.
And you know, if you don't know a lot about racing specifically, you think, well, what difference does that make? You know, it's just different. I mean, it's rubber. Who cares? That's how precise these vehicles are, and that's how much intricacy goes into not only how the driver drives the track, but the setup of the crew, how they put the truck together. So just any minor little thing like that makes a difference in the way the truck performs.
Brett Holmes ends up 8th. Bailey Curry driving the 41 for Nice this weekend. I go back to a couple of weeks ago. Shane Van Gisbergen driving the 41 and delivered at IRP in his oval debut in NASCAR.
I think Bailey got in there a little hot coming to the green, way up the racetrack. We'll see how that relates. That third and fourth corner is really important coming to the green. You can see great lap so far. Just slipping and sliding there in 1 and 2 a little bit.
He's in the green all the way into the entrance of turn 3. So if he can get back in the green.
He's flirting with the top spot.
Really wide on exit, but it didn't look like it hurt the tracker much.
That's exactly the way he came to the green, too. I thought he was too high. He says, no, I wasn't.
No, Mike, I wasn't.
You were wrong.
You listen to me. 30-19, good enough for the top spot in qualifying.
That's a great lap. He's been fun to watch in the Truck Series. Great opportunity for Bailey Curry.
5 starts this year and a pair of top 5s. I mean, that's really good.
Yeah.
Here's Tyler Hill, another part-timer.
Shares this ride with his brother some, which is nice of the brothers to share.
Yeah.
The smiling twins, I would call them, the Hills. They're always smiling anytime you see them.
Your brother shared his car with you before.
I got to borrow it a couple times.
Yeah.
Look at that line. That's where I thought you would see the trucks running. It's just not the case. Good looking Toyota for Timmy, Tyler, both of them.
All the Hills. Their dad, Jerry, too.
How many times would you say we've made that mistake over the years? A little Timmy, a little Tyler. Today it's Tyler in the 56, tracking 12. And that's where he will stay, 30-96.
That's a really important lap unfortunately, for Dexter Bean. Dexter Bean right now is the guy, as we talked about, being most vulnerable. You have to beat 6 cars to know that you're locked in. And right now, Dexter has beat 5 cars, and then Tyler Hill just barely beat Dexter.
That's what Dexter's looking at that scoring pylon right now, just saying, man, 1/100th of a second, and I'm in this show. He needs someone to slip so that he can start the race in that 21 truck.
And it's certainly possible for somebody to slip. I think the racetrack's getting better, but it's a pretty challenging job to get qualified here at Milwaukee.
Here's Lawless Allen, teammate currently quickest. That's Bailey Curry. Let's see what kind of speed is in that 45.
That's inspirational, isn't it? Your teammate goes out there and sets a quick time.
You assume you're set up similar.
Yeah, and you assume you can drive better than him. Let's go see what happens.
He's in the green. It can be inspirational or demoralizing, depending on how the lap goes.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Adam, I've been on both sides of that coin, and you're exactly right.
It's going to be a good lap. It won't be a pole lap, but a good lap for Lawless Allen.
Top 5 for Allen. He's 5th. Bailey Curry, his teammate, leads. It's Ankrum, Deegan, Thompson behind the top runner. Gray brothers getting ready to go out in qualifying. '19th truck out in qualifying here at Milwaukee for the Craftsman Truck Series. Stuart Friesen taking the green flag in the 52.
Boy, this is a team in need of a little bit of a rebound. Last 3 races, 32nd, 27th, and 30th for normally a contender for wins.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a dry spell for Stewart and his team. Obviously, pretty decent here. You can see the tracker there, just a 10th off the fastest so far. So maybe this is a rebound weekend.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Pretty good lap going here. Puts him 6th on the board.
What about we hop on with our buddy Daniel Dye in the 43 truck? See him rolling there in the Hamlin and Associates number 43. He's got our onboard camera as usual. Shifting into high gear there. LowPaymentKings.com sponsoring our camera for this 19-year-old out of DeLand, Florida.
Daniel has some experience here. He's finished in the top 5 the last 2 years in the ARCA Menard Series.
Daniel and I did a charity event this past week for Stuart Marchman down in Daytona, and he carried a camera around in the crowd as well. So just like always, he was there for us.
No matter what he's doing, he always has an onboard camera. Huh?
Got a good lap going too here, guys. Truck looks good, doesn't it?
Sure does.
First truck out for GMS.
Way up the hill. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
Back in the gas hard. Look at the tracker.
This is going to be a great lap.
Boom! Daniel Dye, the new leader in qualifying, and the first, Michael, to go south of that 30-second mark, 29.90.
That was awesome. I'm glad we were on board to check it out because you could see how much room was at the bottom of the track in 3 and 4. Really high up in there in that corner. That tells me, guys, we're going to see some really wild racing today.
Mm-hmm. We remind you of one of the big news items to come out this week in the Craftsman Truck Series. GMS announcing they will shut down their truck operation at the end of 2023. Daniel Dye, who we just saw, was already announced. He has a full-time ride going forward in 2024. So much success over the years for this operation.
Yeah, you can see Sheldon Creed, just so many people that have been able to get their legs under them in NASCAR because of GMS and Maury Gallagher and that whole team.
And they've got another shot at a championship this year too.
Yeah, Grant Enfinger, who we'll see later in qualifying. A couple of wins in a regular season. And when you look at the tracks coming up, you feel like he'll be a real player. Go to Kansas for the elimination race in round 1 in a couple of weeks' time. And Grant won there in the spring. Here's Taylor Gray. He's got a great lap going. Good in practice yesterday. And a good history here in ARCA competition. The rookie, back-to-back rookies, and they're putting up some really good times. 29.87 for the younger Gray brother. Josh?
And down here with Grant Enfinger, I saw a smile on your face when Daniel Dye shot to the top of the board. I know you were talking with him earlier, but you're doing your part. You're getting some ARCA time out there on the track, so doing the double dip. How has that helped you get some experience here at Milwaukee?
Yeah, I appreciate Cody Robaugh and the 97 ARCA team over there for giving me this opportunity. I reached out to him and wanted to run this race. I've never seen this place. But yeah, it's always great to see your teammate go up and put a good lap down. Gives you a little bit more confidence for your own stuff. So feel like Daniel and Raj have both done a good job this year. Hopefully we can continue helping each other for the rest of this year. Feel like we had a pretty decent Champion Power Equipment Chevrolet yesterday. We weren't in contention, but the guy right behind me, he makes some good adjustments all the time. I'm hoping he made the right ones here today and we can be in contention for the race.
Thanks, and good luck, Grant.
Taylor Gray not only fast for one lap like today, yesterday he was the fastest in the 10-lap average as well. So great effort for Taylor and that team. And here comes another solid lap.
Chase Purdy, solid in practice, good in qualifying.
Another driver underneath 30 seconds, 29.95.
You know, I looked in the track record here is like a 29.73, and I saw practice times yesterday. I said, well, we're not going to come close to that. And these guys are getting it done here today.
We haven't seen a playoff driver yet. They'll be the last 10. I would say, given the speed they were producing yesterday, we got a real shot to work on.
I think we do it.
Mm-hmm. Got 4 or 5 more trucks before we get into those playoff drivers. They'll be highlighted in yellow all day in our pylon, gold, yellow, whatever you prefer there, except for Ty Majeski, who's in green after winning at IRP and locking up his position in the round of 8.
He might be in red when he has to make that pass-through penalty at the start of the race.
You'll be seeing red inside the truck, right?
Oh. That's a good-looking Toyota there for Tanner Gray.
It is. Trying to see if he can best his brother.
Yeah, they're not flirting with that newer pavement, are they, Michael?
That's crazy. A lot different than I thought it was going to look.
Me too.
Sibling rivalry. Plenty of trash talk from Taylor Gray to Tanner. Taylor leads. Tanner Gray is fourth in qualifying so far.
Rajah Caruth is going to roll here. That beautiful number 24 truck. Y'all ever do that where you put your camera on that thing and QR code and you can look at different stuff?
I have, yeah.
I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Rajah, the second truck out from the GMS stables. Dye currently second. And Rajah coming off his second top 10 of 2023. Got that done at IRP 2 weeks ago.
See the tracker showing that he got off turn 4 really good and through 1 and 2 good as well. He's flirting with the fastest, loses a little bit there as he got up on the back straightaway.
What as we said, when your teammate's fast, it either motivates you, gives you confidence, or it can be demoralizing. Daniel Dye is second. Rajah Caruth not too far off, up there in the 6th position. 30-23 for the driver out of Washington, D.C.
That was a good lap for the Wendell Scott Foundation, number 24.
Just thinking another really, really nice looking truck.
Yeah.
It's amazing from top to bottom in this field. These trucks look spectacular. Another one right here for Jake Garcia.
He was one of those drivers that put tires on and made a mock run yesterday late in practice field. Made a huge jump late in the practice session.
Yeah, jumped up to 9th with that mock run.
Be interesting what he learned from that, and does it pay off in this qualifying effort.
Let's hear from another one of our playoff drivers, Josh.
Yeah, here alongside Carson Hocevar. Obviously, you had those 50 minutes of practice yesterday. You also did a super late model race here. So what have you been able to pick up on about the Milwaukee Mile?
Just a little bit. I think a lot of people, based off their sim or what they thought, thought we'd be running the bottom. But luckily, I ran the ASA race here earlier this year and knew none of us would really ever see the bottom. So nice to have familiarity. Just for a racetrack, that's really important. Obviously, it's in the playoffs, and I figured we'd be here at this point and need a strong run and need to better myself. So luckily, I have a lot of great people that allow me to go late model racing when I want, and able to get extra laps here. And Phil Gould and Nice Motorsports got a really good truck that makes my life a lot easier, especially when I already know the racetrack a little bit.
Carson Hocevar, remember, had those 3 wins during the regular season, looking for his first of the playoffs.
He could have given us a little bit of a heads up that nobody was going to run the bottom.
Well, I think that's really interesting because I talked to a couple of drivers and they said on sim, you clip the curb, you clip those curbs. Well, that doesn't look like that's what you're doing. Sometimes the sim doesn't quite tell the whole story, does it?
No, sure doesn't.
Phil said it earlier. William Sawalich on the pole for the ARCA race comes your way on FS1, 1 o'clock Eastern time. We'll see where he slots in here for truck qualifying. Minnesota driver in Wisconsin. Do you know what trophy they play for in college football when the Golden Gophers play the Badgers? Can you tell me a little trivia?
Like a Wanamaker or something like that?
That's not it. That's not it.
The Gopher Bowl?
How about Paul Bunyan's axe?
Whoa. Yeah. How about Wigwam socks? You're going to go a little bit Wisconsin on us.
How about 6th fastest for William Sawalich?
He was very confident in that interview with those full sunglasses on that he was going to be fast, and he is fast.
16 years old, 4 truck starts, 3 top 10s. I think his most recent was his best, 6th at IRP. This kid's loaded with talent.
Leads the East Series points on the ARCA platform.
One more truck to go before we hit the drivers running for the championship. Kyle Busch Motorsports, 51. Matt Mills behind the wheel. Got a career best earlier this year at Richmond when he was so impressive.
Yeah, did an outstanding job driving that KBM truck for the first time. Here he is with a second try at it. And as far as I know, this is the final time he will run this truck this year. But looking for a great run here from Matt Mills. Ooh, had to get back out of the throttle there, coming off of 2.
When it hurt him. See where he is on the tracker there.
Yeah, that was costly.
Yeah, he was a pretty decent truck in the average, but this is really going to hurt this lap here. You can see him tracking over 0.6 of a second off.
.30.50 puts him 16th. 10 trucks to go, and they're all running for the championship. Where do they start today in race number 2? Zane Smith, Christian Eckes, those drivers going for it. First playoff driver to make a qualifying run, the pride of Louisville, Kentucky. That's Ben Rhodes in the 99. He's 5th as he takes the checkered flag.
Well, handicapped that lap by Taylor Gray, Phil. Ben Rhodes, playoff guy. We know he's going to be fast. Couldn't get within a couple of tenths.
Yeah, that's a great lap by Taylor Gray. I don't think that's going to hold up for the pole, but certainly a great lap.
Speaking of great, Matt DiBenedetto had a great day yesterday. They had some good speed in that 25 truck. We'll see how he qualifies here.
Yeah, a number of the crew chiefs were telling me they thought this truck was really good.
As 25 gets up speed, we go to Josh.
Down here with Christian Eckes, kicked off the playoffs with a runner-up at IRP. But how are you feeling about your chances here at Milwaukee?
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Our number 19 Gates Hydraulic Chevy is pretty good. I don't know if it's the best truck here, but I think we're top 5 potential, so it's good enough to contend. So we'll have to see what happens tonight and where we qualify, but I feel pretty good about it.
Guys, I noticed the playoff mustache he's rocking these days.
He likes it. He's rocking it. We saw it at the beginning, and it's starting to really take shape now. I like where he's at.
You know, I was watching Matt DiBenedetto guys, and I said, well, he's taking a little bit more of that lower pavement, the newer pavement than some of the other guys, and he was in the green till he got to the center of the corner, and then he started sliding. And you can see Matt right now down in the 15th spot.
Comes in below that playoff cut line, and as you said, Phil, some ground to make up. 15th is where he is right now with 8 trucks to go.
You got to like how aggressive he went after it there. He went into turn 1, had himself ahead of Taylor Gray, but then the truck just wouldn't stick, slid off turn 2. Check this big slide.
See, down in the newer pavement, and then just starts sliding. That right rear loses grip and chases it all the way off the corner.
He went from a 10th to the good to about 4 to the bad by the time he got to the end of the back straightaway, losing all that momentum. This is a qualifying machine.
He is.
E2 down on that starting the pavement. Made it work, though.
In the green. About a 0.5 tenth in the bank as he gets to turn 3.
Got a few rookies up front in qualifying right now. Taylor Gray, Daniel Dye, Jake Garcia. Here's Nick Sanchez, a rookie that made the playoffs, and you guys said it, a qualifying machine. Why don't you just go ahead and put him at the top? 29.80 for the Miami, Florida driver.
Yeah, no surprise there. Nick Sanchez has proven to be a really, really good qualifier.
And that opens the door to go get those all-important stage points. He needs them. Comes in 2 points to the good when you talk about advancing to the round of 8.
Only one finish worse than 11th in the last 7 races.
You notice I said 2 points to the good, Michael.
Yes, that means that right now, if the playoffs were to end for this round, right now.
But they're not gonna.
Not gonna.
Well, we only have two of 3 races to go. 66% of the business is unfinished.
For those of you at home, I have a little bit of problem with the cut line, but I'm working through it. It's not a cut line. It's not relevant at this point.
Good lap going. Good 1 and 2 for Grant Enfinger.
His teammate qualified 3rd, Daniel Dye. Raja Karuth, his other teammate, currently in the top 10, but he's not going to stay there long because the 23 has got it going on.
And
Grant Enfinger.
Going to the top, Adam.
Yes, he is, by a pretty good margin. There it is, 29.74 for Enfinger.
Good lap for Grant.
Remember how fast he was at the 1.25 mile track out in the heartland. St. Louis.
Was talking to Jeff Hensley, his crew chief, today, and he said that Grant said both ends of this racetrack remind him of 3 and 4 at Gateway.
Yeah.
And you mentioned how good he was at Gateway.
Yeah. And I talked to Jeff Hensley, and he told me his springs that he ran in the back of that truck at Gateway, and I bet you the same ones are in the back of it right now.
And why wouldn't they be?
That was great. That was a great lap.
Matt Crafton in the 88. Struggled yesterday in practice, did our 3-time series champion.
The only other driver in the field other than Dexter Bean with truck experience here. A little bit sideways up off turn 2. Matt Crafton, he actually had a runner-up finish here back in, I think, 2008, maybe the next to the last year that we ran here.
I think 8 starts in truck competition here. About half of those resulted in top 10 finishes. And you said to Phil one time, he came home second. This lap puts him 17th.
Matt Crafton, you can see the ages. 6 years old for Corey, Carson, and Christian's 8. That's awesome. And Matt was a veteran at that point.
It's awesome if you're Corey or Carson or Christian or Nick. If you're Matt, it's not so funny, actually.
Well, the last time I raced here was 1984, so that would be interesting to see who was around then. Matt would be about it. I ran second in the dash race to Ed Barrier back in 1984. I remember that day pretty vividly. He was right there in front of me, and I just couldn't pass him.
Couldn't pass him.
What the heck?
I did not have Ed Barrier on my bingo card to get mentioned during this qualifying show today.
Ed also won the Busch Series at Hickory.
Yeah, Racing Ed was his nickname.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Zane Smith tried to win his second straight championship. Pretty good outing coming from the back at IRP in the playoff opener, but this qualifying lap going to be less than expected. They were solid in practice yesterday, but that 38 truck goes 14th, and he too going to have some ground to make up at the beginning of this race.
This has been a surprising. We have Enfinger and Sanchez up top, and again, all these other trucks going around the same time. You have Zane in 14th, Crafton 18th, and Matt DiBenedetto in 19th.
Let me give you a stat. Average starting position of the winner
really
in
good.
15 races at Milwaukee, 2.7. You don't want to be outside the top 15 when we go green.
This guy won't be.
Nope.
I guarantee you. If he qualifies outside of there, he won't stay there long. Corey's had a really solid season.
Yeah. Last 10 races been unbelievable. All top 10 finishes. Led over 400 laps in the last 10 races.
He was 8th at IRP in the playoff opener, and you're like, man, that's surprising. Well, he was second in both stages, got a penalty, and drove all the way back to the top 10. He was showing off just how fast that Toyota was for Tricon, and right now tracking just outside the top 10. You got a little speed in it coming off of 4.
Just under 150 miles an hour at the end of the straightaway.
Into that flat turn as well. You really want to dive hard in there, but with all that speed, but man, there's no banking to hold you.
6th for Corey Hine.
Solid lap. Obviously going to guarantee him starting inside the top 10. You mentioned you don't want to be outside the top 15, Adam.
3 to go. First of those, Carson Hocevar. 4th here earlier this year in that Father's Day 100. We talked about it. He mentioned it and what that experience could mean for him here today.
He's confident about the knowledge, what he learned from that trip up on Father's Day weekend.
Truck looks good. Exit of 4.
Been a heck of a season for this young man. Ran a cup race out at St. Louis. Just so impressive in his Xfinity starts, and of course the wins in the truck. And look at this lap.
He just figured it out. Just figured it out. He's still only 20 years old, right? And just has figured it out and putting the consistent laps together. Good lap here. Lost a little bit up off of 4. It's not going to be a pole running lap, but it's going to be somewhere in the top 5.
He's up there right around that average of where you need to start if you're going to win at Milwaukee. 3rd behind Enfinger and Sanchez.
2 trucks left. Arguably maybe the best 2 trucks in practice yesterday. Christian Eckes. Next truck right there, the Gates Hydraulics Napa Chevrolet for Bill McAnally Higgleman.
Talked to Bill McAnally this week. Really excited about the future of his team and what they're building there. And he's got a couple of fast trucks. You said it, Phil. This guy here was on the top of a lot of crew chiefs' lists of being the fastest truck yesterday.
And he comes in here plus 39 when it comes to advancing from round 1 to round 2 of the playoffs. So if he qualifies up front, and he gains some stage points, he'll be knocking on the door of locking up a spot in the round of 8. Teammate Jake Garcia has already made his qualifying run, currently 8th on the board. We'll see what the 19 produces, tracking inside the top 7 right now. Was 5th, drifted down to 8th.
Oh, lost a little bit there entering turn 3. Sort of the same thing that happened in 1. He was easy in and made some momentum off. Going to be 6th quickest right behind Daniel Dye. Daniel's going to have his best career start.
That's awesome.
Nice comeback for Eckes there off of turn 4.
Next is the guy everybody's been watching with the domination that he's had over the last couple of races. Obviously didn't get the win at Richmond after dominating the race, but just put it to him at IRP.
We've talked about his situation, right? And we know they're going to be behind the 8 ball here to start things out. How do you manage this qualifying run if you're Ty Majeski, knowing what the afternoon's going to present you once we go green this afternoon?
I think you want to see what your truck's got. You know, you want to go out there and hammer down and try to show people that whatever went wrong in inspection and whatever is going on with the right rear wheel, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be the dominant truck again today.
And plus, we all have enough ego, or wouldn't be out here. He wants this pole. This is a home game for him. He wants this pole.
Regardless, go ahead, Phil.
He had to stumble a little bit up off the corner, lost a little bit to the tractor. Excuse me, Adam.
Yeah, going to start in the back. Regardless of where he qualifies, we'll have the pass-through penalty once we go green. Does not have his crew chief Joe Shear. All those adversities, what's he going to be able to do with it later today? It'll be a fun story to watch when we go racing. 4 o'clock Eastern time on FS1. 13th for Ty Majeski, our most recent winner. And that means Grant Enfinger is on the pole. Congratulations to him. 6th career pole. Last time he won a pole, Kentucky, 2019. It's been a while for Grant, and he's picked a great spot to get it done. Track position, so important here.
Jeff Hensley today told me, so I don't think we have pole winning speed, but I think we're going to be okay.
A veteran and a rookie up front.
All Chevrolet front row here. 6th front row start this season for the rookie Nick Sanchez.
That's amazing, and just a win getting ready to happen is Nick Sanchez.
How about the contrasting stats? 6th career pole for the veteran, 6th front row start for the rookie. And that's about as much emotion as you're going to get out of Grant Enfinger.
The sport is a lot more than I really anticipated it to be at that age. It's a lot about relationships, and I didn't really do a good job building those relationships. The roughest part of it all was everything was up at that point. And then everything was really down, not having a ride, not really knowing if I was ever going to race again.
He has made the best first impression with his new team that you could make. Go win!
Enjoy the moment, guys. Enjoy it.
Christian Eckes comes to a brand new team this year, and it's been a good fit. 2nd career win.
Christian Eckes in 2023 is a lot older now, a lot more mature, and a lot more ready to win this championship.
Older, more mature, and he's got the playoff mustache.
I just love his confidence.
2 out of 3 is really good.
I love his confidence and his attitude. We visited with him a couple weeks ago prior to the playoffs, and you could just feel it, that he believes he's going to win the championship.
More of that interview, 3 o'clock on race day. Let's go to Josh.
Here with Grant Enfinger, your pole sitter. You said after practice you needed a little bit more. Looks like you found it.
I think Jeff found it. So, yeah, definitely proud of this. Obviously, it's been a tough week, and I had a few people ask me if we were going to lay down, after the announcement this past week. So we got a brand new truck here. Jeff is as focused as I've ever seen him. We got great leadership on this group. So hopefully this is a sign of things to come for the rest of the year.
Congrats, Grant.
Thank you.
Guys?
Daniel Dye with an assist. They didn't lay down. They came out swinging despite the news this week.
That's awesome. Great teammates.
So we're all done on FS2. Now you need to go to FS1. You got 30 minutes to get your snacks in order. Top of the hour. We got the ARCA race. Trevor, Phil, and Jamie Little. Trucks Race Day comes your way 3 o'clock Eastern time. The 3 of us back here for the Clean Harbors 175. It's race 2, round 1 in the Truck Series playoffs. We'll see you later on. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy your Sunday afternoon.